All right, guys, happy Friday. We are going to spend the next few minutes here going over some example problems. Um, Remember, if we are not practicing our substitution method, then we are not going to be good at it. So make sure we're practicing, doing our homework so that we can perform when it comes to quiz day. What I'm going to do real quick here is put the steps up on the board so that you guys can copy them down. If you do not have them, please have Mr. Winter stop the video so you can have them and know what to do. Here they are. And Mr. Winter, please press pause if people need to write down these steps. All right, let's go through our first example here. If we look at these equations and we look at the second one, x is all by itself in the second equation. When you get a variable that's all by itself, that is the easy one to solve for. So let's go ahead, pick this one and solve for x. So I have x plus 2y equals 2. I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to subtract 2y from both sides. Minus 2y, minus 2y. That gives me x is equal to negative 2y plus 2. Step 1 is finito. So if I know that x is equal to negative 2y plus 2, that means I'm going to plug it in to x in the other equation. So step 2 looks like this. 3 times, instead of x, now I'm going to write negative 2y plus 2 in parentheses. Negative 2y plus 2, close parentheses, finish writing out the rest of the equation. Minus y equals 6. Now I got to solve for y. If I distribute my 3, I get negative 6y plus 6 minus y equals 6. Combine some like terms, I get negative 7y plus 6 equals 6. And if I combine my 6's and move 6 to the other side and subtract 6 minus 6, I get negative 7y is equal to 0. And that means that y must be equal to 0. Okay, step 2 is done. Step 3 says now take your answer of y is equal to 0 and plug it back into any one of these equations. I can pick the top one or the bottom one. It doesn't make a difference. So I'm going to pick the bottom one. X plus 2, instead of now times y, I'm going to write 0 and finish writing the equation. Equals 2. X plus 2 times 0 is 0 equals 2, and this means x is equal to 2. So for our first one, we get a solution of 2, comma 0. Remember, you have to have this in your final answer. Also remember what this means is that if you were to graph these two lines, they would intersect at this point. This is the point they share in common. Next example. I got 4x minus 2y equals 10 and negative 2x plus y equals negative 5. Again, this one is by itself, so I'm going to pick the second equation and solve for y. So I got negative 2x plus y equals 5. I'm going to solve this, negative 5. And I'm going to solve this for y. So all I got to do is add 2x to both sides, plus 2x plus 2x. This gives me y is equal to 2x plus negative 5. Step 1 is done. Step 2 says to take this answer now and substitute it back into the other equation. So I'm going to take the 2x plus negative 5 right here and substitute it back into this equation right there. So step 2 looks like this. 4x minus 2 times 2x plus negative 5 equals 10. And I'm going to change this to add the opposite to avoid some mistakes, and now I'm going to distribute. I got 4x plus 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, so plus negative 4x plus negative 2 times negative 5 is 10 equals 10. Well, what happens here? The x's end up canceling out. This is gone. So now I have 10 is equal to 10. Remember, if you get an answer that looks like this, and it's a true statement, that means you have infinitely many solutions. Okay? When you get an answer where your variables cancel out and you get a number equal to a number, that means you have infinitely many solutions, okay? And this is what you would write. Next example. In this one, we don't have any variables that are solved for themselves or even by themselves. So I'm just going to pick the equation that has the smallest numbers and go with that. It really doesn't make a difference at this point. So I have 2x plus 3y equals 6, okay? And I guess I will pick this and let's say I'll solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides minus 2x. So that gives me 3y is equal to negative 2x plus 6. And now I got to divide everything by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3. And I get y is equal to negative 2/3 x plus 2. All right, step 1 is done. Now I take this answer and I substitute that into y in the other equation. So I got 6 times, instead of y, negative 2/3 x plus 2 in parentheses, and then finish writing my equation, plus 4x equals 6. Okay? Now I got to do some distribution. I got 6 times negative 2, which is negative 12, over 1 times 3, which is 3. Negative 12 over 3 gives me negative 4x. 6 times 2 gives me 12, so I got plus 12. And then finishing off the equation, I got plus 4x equals 6. All right, simplifying some more. Again, I got 4x and negative 4x. That cancels out. So look what I get now. I get 12 is equal to 6. That is obviously false. This means that those two lines are parallel and there is no solution. Okay? So remember, when you get two numbers that are not equal to each other versus before when we got two numbers that were equal to each other, two numbers not equal to each other mean we have no solution. Next example. All right. In this one, I got y solved for itself in both cases here. All right. So this one is pretty easy, actually. All I'm going to do is take this and shove it right in here for y. All right. I already know that step 1 is done for me because we have an equation with a variable solved for itself. So all I'm going to do is rewrite this equation now, substituting the bottom value for y into the top. So it looks like this. Negative 3x plus 4 equals negative 2x plus 1. Okay? And I want to have my value be positive, so I'm going to add 3x to both sides plus 3x, and that gives me 4 is equal to x plus 1. Subtracting 1 from both sides, I get 3 is equal to x. Take this, plug it back in to any of the equations. Now it doesn't make a difference. I'll plug it back in here. Step 3, I have y is equal to negative 2 times that 3 that we got for x before plus 1. So y is equal to negative 6 plus 1, and we get y is equal to negative 5. So my solution for this system of equations is 3 comma negative 5. That's where those two lines intersect. Okay, so hopefully this was a helpful review. For a quiz, we will probably not be quizzing you guys until next week, Thursday. Okay, so we will have 2 more days to review all of the stuff we've talked about, and then you will have a quiz on Thursday. All right, happy Friday. Hope you guys are enjoying the weekend, and I will talk to you guys when we get back. Take care.